I'm gonna drop a couple bombs on the FD channel right now.
Who you rolling?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
We are rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
Oh, you know we rolling with FD, baby.
We got alphas and bros in the house.
That's right.
Peace out, my brother.
Woo!
I'm rolling with the F, the D.
Learn something new every day when you're rolling with FD.
Yeah, we are rolling with FD, baby.
I roll with one person, and that's FD.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
You gotta love it, man.
This is a family thing.
That's good. That's good, man.
Hey, Renee, who you rolling with?
Rolling with FD.
Rolling with FD.
You don't have to ask. I'm rolling with FD.
My man. But see, Bless, who you rolling with?
I'm rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
That's how you just rolling, right? That's the whole thing, right? You roll with it.
You gotta let me know who you rolling with.
We're rolling with FD. You heard it first.
I'm rolling with FD.
I am rolling with FD.
I'm not just a pretty face, Ziggy. JD, we should both do it.
No, I'm doing that.
What questions do you have for me? Right, Manny and Jeremy, who you rolling with?
We're rolling with FD. We don't want to get our asses kicked.
You gotta let the people know who you rolling with, man.
Well, obviously, I'm rolling with FD.
What's up, everybody? I'm very excited. Today is June 1st. This is how we're kicking in the door of the month, 6 p.m. on the dot. We got the Miami Heat playing the Denver Nuggets game 1 of the NBA Finals. But up in here, we have Sin City Comix. I got my man Alex. We're about to jump into a great conversation. I'm going to bring Alex in. What's up, Alex?
What's up, baby?
What's
How you
going
doing, brother?
down? It's going down. So Denver's up about 7 right now, 27-20 with 48 seconds left in the first quarter.
Oh yeah, I got it tuned in the background.
Should be interesting tonight.
Yep.
You've been here before. Well, this is going to be a great conversation. So, where do we start?
Start wherever you want to start, brother. I just want to say thanks for having me back on.
Oh yeah,
always good to kick it with my buddy. So
yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Let's get it started.
So, what have you been up to lately, man? What's new and exciting in the world of Sin City?
Comics, man. Obviously, life is busy, but I always find time for the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very passionate about comics, as we've talked about, and
Yes,
been collecting a lot of comics here lately for the past 6 months, and very passionate about it, man.
So, talk to everybody about you made a transition from the first time we met from sports cards into comics. Just talk about that transition and what led you. What took you down that road? What made you want to make that change?
Yeah, so I mean, I've collected cards, sports card, baseball cards ever since I was little. Back in the 90s, even early 80s, when I started collecting baseball cards, my dad took me to the local LCS, and I just grew a passion for it. Spent all my milk money after school buying packs and ripping packs and all that stuff. But then it came to probably the mid 90s. I started looking more into comics. I just wanted to read them. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. Spider-Man and those famous Todd McFarlane comics in the 90s was big.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane was a big reason why Marvel came back. I'm not sure if people know, but Marvel was kind of on the outs, going bankrupt, and Todd McFarlane saved him when he brought out Spawn, and he brought out, obviously the Spider-Man.
That Spider-Man stuff, 300, all everything around that time, huge.
Everything, the Carnage, all that stuff, man. I mean, it was big. So, fast forward to about 3 years ago, I think this happened with a lot of people, during the pandemic, that, you were just sitting around and you were bored, and, what can I spend my money on now? So, I saw sports cards making on the come up, and I wanted to jump back in because I grew up with them. And I dived back in with 2 feet in the sports card world. Gravitated first towards baseball because that's what I started, collecting when I first started collecting. and started ripping boxes. So real quick, I found out that that's probably not the best thing to do, but it's the most fun, right? But a lot of money gets spent real quick when you're ripping packs, ripping boxes, hobby boxes. But yeah, I mean, after that, I started going back to my passion, what I started loving in the '90s, man, which is collecting comics, and I've been doing that ever since.
So talk to us about, I know we've seen the sports card market, there've been some changes. Prices have reduced probably back to people who have been in the hobby for a while. Remember prices kind of being at, or the growth rates according around different cards growing at a certain rate. Talk to us about the comic world. What are you seeing from a price perspective? What has happened over the last maybe 24 months, things like that?
Yeah, so great question. A lot of the markets that I read, the data that I read, I have 3 different programs that I use for comics. I know that sports cards have Card Ladder, and they have market movers and things like that I was using when I was into sports cards again. But the data with the comic world is very, very similar with the card market as far as the ups and downs. So, I mean, like right now, for example, the comics are struggling. They're basically back down to those, uh, 2020 when the comics just started booming again, right? You have a trend line, and that trend line back then was at a specific, you know, line for that market, and now we're right back down to that same line on the trend line for comics. And there are some comics that are even starting to dip below that trend line that they were back in 2020 before the boom happened. So I see a lot of it happening also in the cards. I mean, even though I'm not collecting cards like I used to, I'm still following a lot of people who are sports card collectors, and just to keep a pulse on that market as well.
To me, the way I look at it is that if you focus and you have a certain thing you're interested in, if you couldn't afford it before, you probably can afford it now.
Yeah.
It makes me personally want to be that much more focused on my activity level. What am I involved in, the reasons why, and really gut check myself on what decisions I'm making. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I probably don't talk about it as much as I should, but I wouldn't say I'm not buying, but I'm trying to buy certain things. And I think I want to see when I go to the National in Chicago, what's being sold at what price and what are people talking about? Because some people are telling me, well, FD, I don't think you're going to find a deal there. Something tells me I'm going to find a deal, but what kind of deal am I going to find? And then am I going to be interested in that deal? Because we all, you may see something that it's maybe a great price, but where's that card going?
Yeah, I mean, it's happening with the Comic Cons. All the shows for comics is the same type of chatter that's happening. A lot of people go in there who collect comics and want to get into these books that they never could get back into 3 years ago, and they're having a tough time doing that because a lot of the sellers that are at these shows got into those books real high. Yeah, and they're just keeping those books still at those prices. And I mean, listen, people, we're not in those times anymore. People have to realize that. And if you want to be considered a seller still and be competitive, you might want to check your prices. So
that sounds like, yeah, definitely it's the same rhythm.
Yeah. No, it doesn't change. It doesn't change.
Interesting. What about Disney cards? I know there were Disney 100 cards out. People talked about them. People are opening them right now. Did you open any of that stuff?
I didn't open any of them, but I did see quite a few people that I follow opening those packs. Really cool cards. I kind of compare them to like Weiss Schwartz cards. Marvel cards had Weiss Schwartz where they were shiny and they were metallic looking and very attractive with your, to the eye. I think it's a niche market, to be honest with you. If you're a huge Disney collector, and you got to have that set in your collection, by all means, go after it. I always preach, collect what you love. Stay away from FOMO. That's the best advice I can give anybody. But yeah, the Disney cards. My personal opinion on them is that there's way too much hype, and if you're looking at it as an investment, you might want to think about moving it pretty quick. I've seen sets like that go really, really high. In particular, the Pixar set that came out as well had a lot of hype behind it. Everybody was having fun with the Pixar set. But I mean, we're talking about, these characters that they're in there, that they're signing these cards. They're not the actual voices from the actual movies that were made. They're just people, random people signing these cards with the name Dumbo or Little Mermaid or whatever on there, Ariel. So I don't know how much value that's going to hold up in this type of market that we're in right now.
So when we use the word investment, this would be a good conversation. When we talk about sports cards, because I believe sports cards can be an investment if you are acquiring certain things. We know a 1952 Mickey Mantle and probably a PSA 5 and better. That's an investment. And it's shown over time what it will do. We've seen enough data on that card. When you talk about investments with comics, break down to people what is that?
Yeah, so when you're looking at an investment for comics, you're looking at blue chip comics. There are different levels, right? You have your blue chip books that is like, your AF-15, which is the Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man. You have Superman #1. You have the first appearance of Batman. Those are blue chip books. Those books will always hold value regardless of the market that you're in. You might lose a little bit here and there, but those aren't really books that you move. Those are books that you just hold on to for years and years and allow it to appreciate in value. Then you have, your middle of the pack comics where, you might want to invest in them and you might get a little return quicker, but they're too volatile. And what I mean by that is the Silver Age market, right? So the ones that I mentioned to you before were basically Golden Age books.
Mm-hmm.
Late 50s, early 60s, like on the cusp of the Silver Age, which came out in 1962. But the Silver Age, when it came out, reinvigorated superheroes. A lot of the comics before then, there really wasn't very much to do with superheroes. It was kind of random. Captain America was obviously around still, but for the most part, that's when Spider-Man exploded in 1962 when he came out.
Oh, yeah.
With Amazing Spider-Man #1. But that's a blue chip book as well. That will appreciate with time. But yeah, you got to be careful. I say your best bet is to stick with something that's in Silver Age or before as an investment. And obviously key books. It just can't be any random book. It has to be a key book where there's a first appearance of a character for it to be considered of value down the road. Once you start creeping into the Bronze Age, Copper Age, and the modern age of comics, that's when it starts to get a little bit tricky because now you're dealing with a lot of print run. You're dealing with a higher census count that's graded, right? Because you got to factor that in.
True.
Same thing goes with sports cards. You're looking at pop counts and pop reports of specific players out there, and obviously the lower the pop count, the rarer the card is, the more in demand for that card is, the higher the price is, right? So that same thing goes with comics when you're dealing with high and low census counts.
We're at a state right now in the sports world. Definitely look at football and basketball. Even as we sit here and look at the finals, Miami has 4 players not drafted.
Yeah,
probably nobody in the card market has really looked at their cards, thought anything about them.
No.
Jimmy Butler on Miami and maybe Bam might be the only 2 people that somebody's ever considered. Let me actually purchase this. On Denver, you got Michael Porter Jr., you got Joker. I can't think of anybody else in the last probably 6 years that somebody's really been excited about from a hobby perspective. And we know, I always talk about There's something like a bridge between the hobby and we talking about sports. There are people who are very relevant in the sports world, and when it comes to conversation, their activity level, what is their performance, what are their yards looking like? It takes a certain kind of player for that then to transcend into sports cards. What's the value of their card? Somebody could be very productive on the field, on the court, and the value of their card may still be relatively low. So even as we look at the finals, I think to myself, as I'm saying this, when I say investment, I almost think about generational players. We talk about a generational talent, but I believe there are only one or two players, probably in football and basketball, every 15, 20 years. There's a lot of activity, right? There's a lot of, man, did you get this card, man? Look at this draft pick. Look, okay. But it's really only one or two players every 15, 20 years that's like an investment to me. Like where you can really see the Michael Jordan, we know him. Well,
Don't say LeBron.
LeBron, I think LeBron's a great player who has had longevity. But yeah, I mean, LeBron stuff is down right now, but everything's down compared to where it was. But
Yeah.
it's just interesting to me when I still think certain key cards of certain key players are investments, but who are the players? Brady's gone. Aaron Rodgers is about to be gone. He's picking up some checks right now from the Jets. Thank you, Jets, for still paying that man. And basketball, Steph, LeBron, KD, all these people are getting older. They'll be leaving. Who's taking the torch in football? Who's the quarterback of the next 20 years in football? We don't know that right now. Some people may say Herbert. Some people may say Burrow. We don't know that right now. We don't know who's going to have how many Super Bowls when they retire. So who's taking the torch in these sports? And I think until we really find that out, you're going to have situations where you have two Herbert cards sell for over $1 million. And as we're talking right now, they're not worth $1 million.
No. I mean, you just said Herbert. Herbert hasn't won anything yet. Joe Burrow, yeah, okay. But I think the closest thing to Brady that might make it to, and I'm not even saying that he will get even close to 7 Super Bowls, is Patrick Mahomes. I think that's the best chance, just because not only is it just Patrick Mahomes, but it's the coach behind Patrick Mahomes. I think Andy Reid is the next Belichick as far as complete package with his team and getting his team to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. He's already gotten 2 now with Mahomes, right?
Yes.
So I think that Mahomes is probably the closest thing next. But I mean, going back to basketball, like you were mentioning, that there's these blue chip athletes, just like there are in comics, blue chip characters. People are going crazy over the guy in Orlando, the Paulo guy.
Yeah.
And to me, it's mind boggling when I see these prices for these cards of all these people out there paying this money for these cards. It's just a pipe dream to me. I'll be straight up and honest. It's a pipe dream because, those players haven't done squat. Look at Zion, hasn't done squat. His cards are taken, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, he's the next thing." I think he's played 82 games or something like that in 4 years, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So, just be careful. Be careful out there with who you collect. I'll keep preaching that all night long, because it's a big thing right now in comics. It's being talked about every day about that FOMO bug.
That FOMO is big. It's just interesting. Yeah. So you got, this is just examples. You have Ja, you have Zion. Cards are big. You got Luka. Cards are big. But if I say Moses Malone,
yeah,
and a few other players I can name,
Hakeem.
Yeah, Hakeem. I'm not excited about that. Even Carmelo. I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
It's almost like we know that this person has 15 All-Star games under their belt. That's boring. We don't know what this person's going to do, and they haven't done anything. So let me run behind the person who hasn't done anything, and probably because there's more profit potential there than someone who we actually know. I never forget. A few years ago, Lonzo Ball was playing with the Lakers. And one day, I think it was a Friday. No, it was 2 different weekends. One weekend, Kareem is signing. I go to the signing. I see Kareem. There's a few people in line. I mean, pretty decent number.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you can see the end of the line. You walk up, that's pretty decent. Next weekend, I go, Lonzo Ball is signing. And Lonzo Ball is charging more than a Kareem autograph. Put that all into perspective now. You walk up to the front of the store, I can't even see that in the line. There are people everywhere, right?
Crazy.
Everywhere for Lonzo Ball. Then we fast forward, you don't know what he's going to do, but you probably have a high probability that he's not going to be a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar impact player.
I don't think so.
And now he's probably out of basketball.
Yep.
But his card prices were higher, and his autograph prices were significantly higher than someone who may be top 5, 6, 7 in all-time basketball.
Yeah. I think a lot has to do with it too, that the people who are coming into the hobby, will preach that you have to go after the blue chip books or the blue chip cards. But honestly, there's not many people that can afford that, right?
True.
So they're just looking for that next home run or that next to keep them excited, to keep them in the hobby. And that's okay too, but you got to just be careful about, overpaying for that stuff too. But I mean the Steph Curry cards, the LeBron cards, the Jordan cards, the Kobe cards, they're pretty pricey, and rightfully so, right? Because they've done something in their career to warrant that type of a price tag.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the players that are up and coming right now, I don't see them making splashes. They're not exciting to me to watch as a player just yet. So they got to keep growing on me. And this goes across all sports, right? I mean, we're not talking just basketball here. We're talking about, the baseball and the football players that are up and coming right now. I wasn't excited about the draft in football this year. I didn't see
and once you get past probably the top 4 picks in basketball, I don't know what's going on. Unless somebody comes out like the Joker second round or something.
No idea. No idea. I mean, we had a what is that player from Iowa? It's a girl. Caitlin.
Caitlin, yeah.
Yeah. She was thrown into the mix, and I'm like, her cards are going for a crazy price.
Yeah, I just saw somewhere today where one of her auto card was pulled.
Yep, it was pulled, and it'll probably sell for $2,000-$3,000.
And it's in her Iowa jersey, which probably 3 years from now, somebody say, "I don't want that as in an Iowa jersey."
Yeah, same thing goes with the National Treasure cards that have the collegiate National Treasures. Everybody freaks out about those. I know Cade Cunningham was a big one with his. I think he was Ohio. What was it? Oregon State.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. There you go.
Yep.
They were all freaking about his triple patch or tricolored patch auto out of Oklahoma State when that came out, and then once he got his jersey, no one cares about those cards no more.
Well, we know there's 2 different markets. There's a preliminary market where people try to make a profit because there's only so many cards that hit the market. Just like Wemby right now has a few cards out with his current jersey on it. We know that once he hits the NBA and is most likely drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, there'll be less interest in those cards. So you have people that are rightfully so. There's a market there trying to make a profit while they can until those other cards are distributed. But what I never understand is, so you have people trying to make a profit, but then you still have some longer term collectors in there that buy this product and hold on to it knowing that it's going to go down. I just never understand that.
Yeah. I mean, if you got the money for it, by all means, do what you want with your money. But yeah.
Big John is here. Big John saying hello.
What's up, Big John?
What's up? It's harder to prospect the NBA and NFL. But we're saying all this, but I will always stand by. It's low probability, people, when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's somebody coming. We just don't know who they are right now on June 1st, 2023 at 6:23 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But there's somebody coming. We got to think the Joker was drafted doing a Taco Bell commercial. Out of all the people in that draft, he's in the finals right now, leading the team. Probably rain.
He's been disrespected.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't think that. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The guy from Philadelphia,
Embiid.
I don't think Embiid should have won it. I think Joker has been disrespected for years now. And look at Denver. Now Denver's there. I don't think Denver's ever been in the finals, have they?
Oh, if it was, I don't know the history of it.
Yeah.
While we're talking, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been.
I think this is their first time.
Yeah, this is their first time there. And this guy, Joker, I mean, they showed a picture of him when he was younger. He's a little chunky.
Oh yeah, he's all he. It seems like 4 years ago he made a considerable effort to. I got to get myself.
Oh man, yeah, he was chunky.
They've never been to the finals in their 47-year history. Never
yeah, told you. Yeah, never been.
That's almost my age. So my lifetime, we've never seen this from a guy who's drafted out of nowhere, really, Serbia, and doing a Taco Bell commercial in the second round.
Yeah, those diamond in the roughs, man. I mean, Joker's one of them. Even Giannis. I mean, Giannis. I know that Giannis. They got smoked in the playoffs this year, but that was just bad coaching, I think.
Well, bad coaching. I told people all season, nobody wanted to believe it, is that Middleton's still not right.
No.
So if you got to hurt Middleton, that whole team is totally different.
Yeah.
And then now you got Giannis in the series gets hurt. Prime pick to get put out.
Yep.
So right now, Denver's up 50-37. This is what I thought was going to happen. There's going to be a gradual just wearing on you. Just it'll be a 5-point lead. It'll be an 8-point lead. It'll be a 12-point lead. Then it'll be a 20-point lead.
Yeah. They did it. They did it the entire playoffs.
Yep. Did it to the Lakers like this. And Michael Porter Jr. has been very aggressive tonight. Blocking shots, leading the fast break. Michael Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
Show me something.
I don't know, man. I love Vincent and I love Martin from Miami. Undrafted players. Nobody knows who they are. And they're picking up the slack off the bench.
But who my X Factor person is, let me do this little stat check.
Yeah.
Gordon for Denver. It's been a person that I've said to a few people I know in the last couple of days, like, this dude is about to have a series. I don't know who on Miami can defend him. And right now, see how many points he has. He's been very active. Gordon has 14 points, 7-9 shooting. This is what I thought was going to happen. 0 for 1 from the 3, 5 points. 5 rebounds, 17 minutes.
Well, this is the game that Miami they could keep up with it if they start dropping threes. The problem is that when they get too far behind, they start dropping these threes. Let's see. See, he was wide open there. Couldn't make that 3-point shot. So that's when they're going to start getting in trouble.
Yep.
When you live and die by the three like that, it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
But this is we going back to talking about how someone's coming. You got the Joker, 2-time MVP, maybe a Finals MVP here. That's when you start building. That's when you start building your resume.
Well, I don't think Bam can handle Joker.
No, I've said all week, Bam. When he was holding the Eastern Conference Championship trophy, it's like, man, you know what you got cut out for you?
Yeah.
It's coming your way, young man. Let's see what he's done tonight thus far. Bam has been aggressive. He's 8 of 12. He better be here. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 16 points. So he better be here.
Jimmy hasn't been showing up in the past few games. That's a little, and I'm a big Heat fan. You know that. But Jimmy doesn't get started, and it's going to be a long series.
Yes.
Well, it'll be a quick series if that.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Let's jump into some basketball.
Yeah.
So Nick Nurse went to a press conference today. New coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. You get asked some tough questions about the media. One question in particular, media person asked him, what do you think of Harden? Do you want him on your team? And he says, well, Harden's a good player. He said, well, you didn't answer my question. And Nick Nurse looked like, what? I think Nick Nurse has understood that he's not in Toronto.
Yeah.
I would think Philly, a media market, New York, media market, Chicago, LA. Maybe ready to answer some of these questions. Probably an outlier in markets is Golden State. They'll be ready to answer some questions. What do you think he's going to do as coach compared to Doc Rivers?
He's definitely going to have to pick up the energy a little bit. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder coming from Toronto. But he's got some big shoes to fill, man, in Philly. A lot of turnover in Philly. Players that can't get along, things of that nature. And I don't know. Nurse has got his hands his hands full in Philly, in my opinion, man. Doc Rivers has been beat up over the years. He's been given tough jobs.
Yeah.
I think he should have.
Yeah.
What's that?
Ever since Orlando.
Yeah. I think he should have never left Boston. I wish he would have never left Boston. He was a great coach in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But
you know what he's thinking now, man. Ray about to get out of here. KG's about to get out of here. Oh wow. Paul, well, I'm right out with y'all boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not rebuilding around here.
Yeah. That's
so you got your take on that. I believe that Nick Nurse is going to be good for Embiid.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it's going to be good for him. And I gotta believe, I get into my crystal ball sometimes, that Embiid is going to come back just a little bit lighter in weight and ready to go for something.
I hope so. He's a big boy.
And he's gotten in better shape. I'm not disrespecting the man.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten in better shape. There's another level he needs to get to.
Yeah.
That can take him through 82. We're talking about lower extremity stuff, people. We start having knee issues, ankle
knee issues. The knees are the big one.
I mean, prime example, I know he's retired, but really two prime examples. You look at Shaq. Shaq had a hip replacement. Shaq has dropped. He said on the show one day he's dropped, I think, 55 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And notice Charles Barkley has lost a lot of weight with him.
Yep.
And I think sometimes when you get out the game, even when you're in the game, you got to realize, I even look across all sports. CC Sabathia went through a lot of different personal issues when he was playing ball. I love me CC Sabathia, but have you seen him lately?
No, I haven't seen him.
Oh, he's in phenomenal shape. He's in phenomenal shape. And I just wish he'd have pitched in that kind of shape.
In that phase. Yeah.
I know he had all kind of stuff going on. I know the reasons why. I've read a bunch of stuff about him.
Yes, I've read about that.
That's why I like that he's tried to overcome something. I love his story. I love his relationship with his children, his relationship with his wife, what he's done. It's been very difficult for him to overcome certain things. I get that. But if he would have, David Wells, if these people would have played at a level of physicality as they could have, what would have happened? And when you look at Embiid and you look at other big men, even some small forwards and power forwards in the NBA, that nutrition thing, I know it's hard for all of us to keep some things that we like just out of our mouths, and we don't eat it and we don't participate in it as often as we have in the past. I know that's difficult. You're traveling the world. Like I just saw Cat in Dubai, Carl Anthony Towns in Dubai, underwater with his girlfriend snorkeling and scuba diving. All kind. I mean, you're kicking it, and then you come out, you go to the best restaurant. You're not in there talking about what's the calorie count here.
You're not in there asking about the salads.
No, you're not doing that. You're eating, as they say. You're eating. That's what you're doing. So I just hope all these guys, they understand. A lot of times you want to win, it's going to test you. We just saw what Jason Tatum went through, what Jaylen Brown went through. There's a test. If you look at Tatum and Brown, both going to the left dribbling is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I would think all summer I'm not dribbling with my right hand.
Yeah, you definitely got to make some adjustments. Zion's got to stop eating cheeseburgers. You know what I mean? He's heading down that same path.
I think when I look at Zion, and we know about Ja,
Mm-hmm.
and there's several other players that I look at, I feel like there is the eating thing is just one thing that's going on. There's a bunch of other stuff that's happening that's on top of that. It's like building up. And so then you feel a certain way. And I think some people have said that I have made a declaration that Zion, Scottie Pippen, and other people have mental issues, or I've never said any of that.
Mm-hmm.
What I do know, I play ball. I've been through life.
Yep.
Even with people that didn't play sports, there are things that can really impact us that are going on around us. And sometimes if we don't get our arms around what's going on, you'll see someone overeating. You'll see someone acting out. You'll see someone drinking too much alcohol or doing certain things when there are other things that are going on. So when I look at Zion, I see a guy who there may be other things going on that he's trying to get his arms around. Because when you're 20-some years old, Alex, really any age of life, but when you're in your 20s and you got millions, and we all know there's a lot of stuff coming at people. Like we walk around, a lot of us just go to work, and there's nobody coming at us.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of stuff coming at you. How do you move through that? How do you navigate? Who is there really because they love you? Who wants to make decisions, help you make decisions that are important for you because they care for you? They're putting their feet in your shoes. Or who are people trying to take advantage of you? I just watched a documentary the other day about Dennis Rodman, Ricky Williams, and someone who took money from them.
Mm-hmm.
There are many pariahs out there who are trying to take advantage of people. So how do you navigate through that? Do you have family support? I know when I was 20-something, if I was making millions, I know I got mom and dad. I got my brother.
They're right here.
Yeah,
they're hanging on the sleeve.
If not, they're moving in with me. We're all in one compound, making these decisions and talking through stuff. Then you have great stories where you have a Lamar Jackson, whose mom just served as his agent and just got a historic contract signed. So you got all this stuff going on. How do you navigate through that? So whenever I hear Zion and people start talking about Ja, I see young men.
Maybe they don't have their figures.
Yeah,
like we did when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not. I wish. I hope they find them.
I hope so too, because it's a sad thing that Ja's going through what he's going through, man.
Because what's really going to be sad, people, what's really going to be sad is when we're not talking about, it could be now in the future. We're not talking about basketball, football, baseball, boxing, whatever. We're talking about the demise of a young person.
Yeah. And
I don't think anybody's, we some people joke about things. So I had a friend in college, and this is why this really hits home with me. I had a friend in college who I played football with, but he was a real student athlete. Played running back, but he was an accounting major. I mean, very brilliant guy. But later in life, he found out he was adopted. That hit him hard. He lived his whole life with his parents. And then he found out in his late 20s, he was adopted. And this one I talk about stuff building people. These are real life stories I'm telling. Then he found out, he thought he was in a relationship with someone that was good for him. Person was not good for him. So now you found out that you're adopted. You take that a certain way. You're in a relationship. It ends. You take that another way. Then he developed an addiction to gambling. So now you have these layers.
Yeah, they keep building up.
And they're pushing down. They're pushing down on him. He lost his job. He never came to work. He was always gambling. Then after that, he lost his job, didn't have income. I went over his place one day. All his stuff was sitting in the parking lot. It was like his full apartment was
outside.
Sitting in the parking lot. Dresser with clothes in them. His bed was out there. Everything that was in his house, kitchen stuff, everything's in the parking lot. So
Sad.
this guy was homeless. This guy was sleeping in a laundromat in different places around town. Now,
That's bad.
luckily, I bumped into him one day. I just happened to move to that city to go to grad school. At the same time, all this stuff is going down. He had just found out about his parents. He had just found out about his girlfriend. He just got unemployed. He was a recruiter at the university. Got unemployed. He just found out this thing. I had just moved to town. I had just got there like 2 months after the last thing happened. After he was just about to be homeless, I was moving into town. I saw him one day. I invited him over to my house. I get a knock on the door. He told me he wasn't coming. I get a knock on the door. It's him. I let him in. He stays the night. We talk for about 6 hours. We had deep conversation about many, many, many things. Many things where he was putting blame with certain people he wasn't really talking about the effect that they've had on his life in a negative way. When he talked about his girlfriend, he couldn't verbalize the impact that she had on his life in a negative way. So I'm talking to him because I want to save a life. I see somebody going down a road that they're about to have major issues. Like, we're about to go to a funeral or something like this guy was down, really, really down. And we talked years later. I went to his house when I was moving across country and sat down with his parents and him, and some friends came, and he pulled me to the side and talked to me about the conversations that I had with him that night. I challenged him. And Alex, this wasn't just us just sitting there and laughing. I challenged him on a bunch of stuff. If your adoptive mother never told you that you were adopted until you were in your 20s, but she loved you, she did anything for you she could because she loved you. Are you blaming her?
Nah.
You got to put your feet in her shoes.
No. Absolutely not.
No, it's hard for her to speak on certain things with you because I know where I'm from. You're still her child.
Of course.
Yeah, you're not.
She raised you.
Yeah, she raised you. You're not her peer. You're her child. So it's hard for her to talk. And then we got to remember too, our parents are people. They're not just our parents. They got emotions. They got feelings about certain things. And so when we went through all of that, when I talk about these athletes and other people that we may know in our personal lives that are experiencing things, especially in these times, we just got out of COVID. There's a bunch of stuff going on. People are still catching COVID. It's a bunch of stuff going down right now. People feel certain ways about many different issues and things. How people, and these things start pressing down on you. How do you react to that? And the only thing I would say is that as each of us sees someone that we know is going through something tough, to extend the hand and be there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brendan brings up a good point. Brendan Ryan says money isn't enough. Fame must be the culprit. Ja has greatness potential.
He does.
I mean, listen, when you get up there and you have a lot of fame, and I'll give a good example here. Henry Ruggs III here in Las Vegas, star wide receiver for the Raiders.
Just got there
Out of college. Had an amazing start to his career. I think he was only in the league for a year before this happened to him.
Yes.
And he got into a Ferrari with his girlfriend one night. Started driving over 100 miles an hour down an alleyway here in Vegas. I know exactly where it is. I drive by it almost every day. And crazy crime and got in an accident and took a life. Now he's in jail.
Now things hit home a couple of weeks ago. Body cam footage from the police officer becomes available. When you see that car in a blaze, not just on fire,
blaze,
and there's an individual inside of that car
and her dog.
That's when I knew about the story. I've thought about what was this like, but when I actually saw that video, and there's people standing there, they can't do it.
You can't do nothing.
Doing something about it.
Yeah, it was sad, man. But I mean, the fame gets to you, man. You think you're on top of the world, and then all of a sudden it gets yanked from you because of one mistake.
And a lot
And
of times,
Ja, I think, has to realize that he has people that love him, people that reach out to him, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's just got to make the right decisions, man.
well, this is why when Ja's situation first came up, I was on with JD. What's the flavor? And we're talking. And I've said then, and I will continue to say, even when the second video came up, I don't really believe this is about holding a gun somewhere and being on IG Live.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, I've known people, like it's deeper than that. And let's not just dismiss people and say, oh, well, he's got money, he's dumb. Why is he throwing $200 million away? He's dumb.
Yeah.
He's a young kid, he's stupid. Like that's dismissive to a problem. Just like the friend I told you that I had, I could have seen him and I was like, hey man, just don't worry about your girlfriend, man. What the hell? And I kept it moving. And then we're not having this dialogue and this conversation to get deep into his feelings and what's pressing down on him. And I'm an individual, man. I'm not afraid. People who know me know this. I'm not afraid to have an actual intervention with a person. Even if it's just me and two other people, it's just me by myself, really having a detailed conversation about how you feeling right now, trying to get that out. Because a lot of people don't talk about how they feel. They try to generalize it into some kind of philosophical intelligence of just talking fact. And when I start hearing too much fact from a person that I know is trouble, I'm gonna try to get down because bro, you know how this goes. I'm gonna start to be very factual because I can't let you dig in me now. But I'm gonna try to get in there and find out what's really going on, what's causing this, what's really happening right now. And I think if we try to get there with people and they trust us enough to know. Because I told him up front that day, what we talk about right here on this couch, in this very living room, it's for us to talk about. Like we had, peers and friends. I haven't mentioned his name, but we had peers and friends that we knew. I wasn't going to any of those people with this information. It was just between us to find out what is going on. And I learned in life that as you help people who are going through, there's going to be a time in life where you're going to start going through something and you can pull from some of the conversation that you had with that person, some of the advice that you gave them, how you saw them come out. It's a learning lesson for you too.
Yeah, 100%, man.
That's how it works. Let's see here. Brendan says, our influences with negative energy manifest in trouble outcomes for the hobby. You want to jump on that, Alex? You want me to jump on that?
Oh, I could touch on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Many influencers out there are just out to get clicks. They're just out to get likes. They're just out to get comments. We as a community, as a hobby, have to exclude all the negativity out of our way of thinking, our way of deciding what we do in the hobby. And the only thing that's going to keep these influencers around is us viewing their content, us liking their content, us commenting, feeding fuel to the fire, that negativity. Don't even put it to bed, everybody. Don't even think about it. Well, that's how I feel about it. They're just, they're looking for attention.
I ask the question all the time. And when we first started the channel, I used to ask this question all the time. Gangstar made a song called What's Real.
Okay.
I always ask the question. I'm telling you, man, we have like maybe 10 subscribers. And to me, it's no different now. A lot of the real content that I see, very few people watch it. And a lot of the stuff that Brendan is asking right here, negative energy manifesting trouble, is what people click on and start watching. And I'm a firm believer. I'm in a fraternity. I've been to church. I've been in groups on campus in college. I was in a international business fraternity in college. To me, you get more than two people together in the name of getting something done, there's going to become some chaos.
Yeah.
That's just human nature. That's how we get down. So you can almost expect it. And so I've been collecting anything that I can probably get my hands on since I was 6 years old. Started with stamps and coins. Moved on to baseball cards when I was 8. Got into autographs when I was 13. And the only way I've stopped along the way is I moved, or I took another job someplace, or I went to school, or I had children. That's the only thing that stopped me from collecting. Then it started back up again.
I think that's the norm for everybody.
Yeah, that's the norm. You got to take a break. You got to do this. Starts back up again. So I've seen a lot, right? I was in a fraternity where some shady dealings were happening with money. And it's not the whole fraternity. It's one little small sector of it.
Sure.
So I could come out, I say, if I made content about organizations and groups, I could come out all the time talking about money laundering or whatever we're doing with phone. I can make hours of content about that. Or I could talk about the youth programs, the community service aspects, or other things that went on that were very positive. And so when we first started the channel, people would say, well, FD, you're so positive. You're just positive, man. You know, when I see you, you're positive. And I used to say here, what does that mean? I used to ask my girlfriend and people in the family, what are they talking about? And over time, that shifted to, FD, you're real. You're very real. Is that a compliment, or is that a
they're actually those that say you're real are probably the ones that actually see you for who you really are now.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I think. So some people ask me, well, why don't you talk about PPP loans, and why don't you talk about XYZ, and why don't you talk about that? Because I tell people all the time, I talk about what I really do. I don't walk around tracking people's PPP loans on a daily basis. I don't jump into that. I don't dive into that swimming pool. Right? I'm thinking about something completely different. I'm probably sitting around watching more sports than most people, thinking about what's my eye test and who is this person that's going to take the torch for the next 20 years. That's kind of where I'm spending my time. So that's what I start talking about on a regular basis. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, we talk about influencers. I always question again, what is an influencer? I question, like, what is that?
I think it could be anybody. It could be anybody who's putting a post out there, anybody who's getting on a mic. It could be anybody. You sending out a mass IG message out there because you're excited about a card you just got. You're influencing the hobby with what you got.
But you know what I'll say, Alex? I challenge people, be your own influencer.
Mm-hmm.
You may listen to this, that. You may be listening to this right now. I can say something in the next couple of seconds that's way out of pocket. I'm just talking.
Yep.
Don't let that be a catalyst for you to start running and doing something. And I can name a player, man, I'm buying so-and-so. You just start running and buying it. If someone is saying something, then gut check it. Do some research. Find out what's going on.
Always use data. Always use data.
Data. How's the person performing? And then if you don't know about sports, get by somebody that knows sports and talk to them about it. Well, when it's 4th and 5 and they're going for, why is that a bad call? Find out about all that and then make your own decision. So I will say this: if you see an influencer, become your own influencer and just use their whatever they're saying just as something they're saying until you fact check it.
Yeah, it's all about fact checking these days.
Because a lot is said. Big John, the NBA has uncovered more on Ja, but won't release it after. So yeah, you're not gonna hear anything about Ja until this series right here is over. And as soon as this series is over, and maybe even an NBA draft that's coming up on June 22nd through June 23rd.
They'll keep that hush hush.
Yeah. Believe me, all of the investigators, or at least half of them, have found out what exactly every step that Ja makes and what he does and what he's eating for breakfast and where he buys it from. They already know. Brendan says money isn't enough. We talked about that. Hakeem Butler is back like a bad penny. Who is Hakeem Butler?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's a football player. 2019 draft, Carolina Panthers. I don't know. Brendan, tell us what he did.
Maybe he got into a bunch of trouble back then today.
Maybe so. It's the intangible. Can't explain the loyalty and belief in God. Call it intuition. Zerny, you're a real one, FD. Thank you, bro. I mean, I appreciate you. This is how I was raised, brought up, what I do, how I get down. I think everybody knows by now what you see us doing on a video is how we get into some things. There's no act one, act two. There's no cut. Let's get this right again. None of that. It's going to be a great story, Ja. The collectors, Gene unites many. Yes, it does. And all different types of collectibles. I've met people who collect rugs, porcelain, statues, whatever it may be, for lack of a better term. It's funny to me. It was almost like collecting. If you listen to someone that collects, it goes way back. Why? My father wanted to collect, couldn't. He kind of brought that to me, and I started running with it. So what? Well, let me ask you this question. Well, get a little deep into sports. What's up with Scottie Pippen? What's your thought on Scottie Pippen?
Scottie Pippen has got something has happened with Scottie Pippen and the whole time he was in Chicago that he cannot let go. And he's holding it by his heart or something. I have no idea, but the man has to just move on. Too much digging going on, too much this and that. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I said, I think on a live last week, I think we talking about pushing down. We talking about layers.
Yeah.
Layers. I think Scottie Pippen's going through that. This is just my belief. And I'm not saying that he has any kind of medical issues. I'm just talking about life. Scottie Pippen's son died about a year and a half ago. 2 years ago. Son was grown. Son had a background, played basketball overseas, pretty decent player. Got Scottie Pippen genes. That was his oldest son. His wife started dating a rapper, Future. Had a relationship with a basketball player that's on the Lakers right now. And also her son is in the Lakers organization, sitting on the bench by this guy last season. She now dates Michael Jordan's son.
Too many layers.
We talking about layers. Now this goes back to
layers.
That you tell me that it's not pushing down on somebody. And you love basketball. Just think about this. You love basketball, and everything about basketball is destroying you.
Mm-hmm.
You go to you go to a Lakers game to support your son. A lot of other stuff is going on. People talk about Michael Jordan. Your son is with your wife. And no one could ever give Scottie credit. It's via Michael Jordan when you talk about it. So
he's got that cloud, that shadow over him. And then among that, he's got all those layers you just mentioned. So he's got it rough right now.
So when I heard him say what he said the other day, now I've heard him say before LeBron's the GOAT. I've heard him say Michael Jordan is the GOAT. He got upset, said he was the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
And what he said the other day about Jordan being a horrible player and taking horrible shots. When you start summing somebody up in one word like horrible, Alex, you're horrible. Somebody say, FD, you're horrible. No one person is one word. We may have some good days where we're the bomb. We may have some days, he's okay. You may have some days where he's horrible. But you can't sum them up on one word. So when I hear someone sum someone up in one word like that, they're frustrated.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he crucified him with those words. How he said that before he showed up in Chicago, he was a nobody.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know, man. I mean, Jordan was a somebody. He's had good days and bad days, but
someone out there.
I don't know if he was completely horrible before Scottie showed up.
Scottie that first year averaging 7 points didn't come save him. So when I first heard that, I thought, man, what's up with man? I hope Scottie's okay, man. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Too much drama in his life, man. Too much drama.
All right, fresh from the XFL or CFL, I forget Hakeem Butler is back with accolades in the Steelers camp. Okay. I mean, we'll see here. brought the 2019 NT NFL Shield and Nike swoosh. Hakeem Butler 101 been sitting on it. That's a strong. That's a prospect move.
Yeah.
So there's some talk of Brady possibly coming back for the Raiders.
Here we go. Oh man,
Brady's like
he's like that. Right, he's getting like that redheaded stepchild right now.
He's really like Michael Myers.
Man.
He's like Michael Myers in Halloween. When you blew up the whole house, Michael Myers opens the front door and walks out.
He said,
"What's up,
nope,
y'all? I'm still
back.
here.
I'm back.
Ain't nothing but a little light in behind me, but I'm still here." That's Brady.
Brady, if this guy comes out of retirement and comes to the Raiders, because he already has, he's already what, partial owner?
Yeah, partial owner. So he's gonna be partial owner. So remember, Garoppolo says he's better than Brady. He's gonna start in front of Garoppolo and put him on the bench.
Yeah. I think that if that happens, then has to be a little bit of issues that happened when they were together in New England, man. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you've won Super Bowls and overcome this, that, and the other. And you got this person behind you that's saying they're better than you. It's always something. And people better remember this. When you're Michael Jordan, you can name a lot of people. Steph Curry. Steph Curry even talked about it last year. We hit a chatter. Kobe Bryant. Tom Brady. Brett Favre. I'm pretty sure Drew Brees. Any of these great players, Jim Brown, they hear everything that's being said.
Absolutely.
They keep track of everything that's being said. And they don't forget. And they'll bring it back on you in their own time.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he does not come out of retirement. I hope he just stays put. He did what he did. Because then you start doing stuff like, I'm a huge Marino fan because I grew up in Miami. I grew up with watching Marino, Don Shula, all those guys. And towards the end of Marino's career, he stayed in his career, I think, a year or two too much, right? Brett Favre, amazing quarterback. But when he went to Minnesota, it started to tail off a little bit.
Becoming a shell of himself.
Yeah. And I think I think the same thing's going to happen to Rodgers. Now, I give Brady credit. Went to Tampa Bay, his first year there, took him to a Super Bowl, won it, said, I'm the man. I get you. I got it. But not too many people could do that. You've already accomplished that. What more do you want? For you to come out of retirement again to try and put this in front of Garoppolo's face here in Las Vegas? I don't know.
To me, the best thing about Brady is that he walked off the field on his own. Didn't get taken off. Wasn't on the stretcher. He wasn't on a cart. He walked off the thing. He won a Super Bowl. The next year didn't really come back the way he wanted to. Walked off. If you keep pushing the envelope. Now, believe me, I like to see Tom Brady running around. But I got to be for real. We were both in college at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep pushing it, you're not going to be walking off.
No, you're going to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Or have a brain issue that affects the rest of your life.
Correct.
Tom looks good in commercials and up in the skybox. Let's go chill, man.
He's got another 20, 30 years left in him as a commentator, as a businessman. I mean, he's got so many businesses right now that he's working on.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it go. Put it to rest.
Something tells me it's not going to happen because I think the owners have to vote on this. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, they have to pass it. If you're a partial owner of a team, there's a rule that you can't play for the team. So unless the NFL passes it for him to be able to do that, which I hope they don't. I hope they deny it. But then again, we're talking about Tom Brady here. So
yeah, we are talking about TB12. So a story came out just last night that Shannon Sharp is leaving Undisputed right after these finals is over. The whole world's going to change right after these finals is over. We're going to hear about Ja. We're going to see who's going to get drafted. And Shannon Sharp is leaving Undisputed on Fox Sports Network. What are your thoughts on that?
Been there for a long time. I don't know if it's a power move for him or if it's an actual dispute that happened with his co-host. So,
Well, a couple of months ago, they got into a pretty heated exchange doing the show. But Shannon said Skip cut him off in his monologue and wouldn't let him articulate his idea. They were kind of shouting at each other.
I remember that.
I watch this show almost every morning. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm watching some part of that show. You have seen some energy change. At first, it was, we're going to come out here and be professional. That's what it looked like. I don't really care for you. You don't really care for me, but we're going to come out here and be professional. And I think, and now it seems to be more like they're having fun again, but you can still feel like there's something there.
Yeah. I mean, once you get that little skit with somebody, you get into an argument with somebody, if you really, really are not true friends, it's tough to come back and try and play nice.
True.
Right? I mean, it's too hard. If it's family gets over that stuff, whatever. But when you're dealing with somebody who's, you don't be hanging out with, I don't know, they might have hung out, but from the way that they got into that little spat a while ago, I don't think they were having too many beers or too many grill outs together.
I think they say break when they get through filming. Shannon goes and does his podcast and travels for his liquor line and other stuff that he's doing, other business that he's involved in, and then they get back together Monday morning. Because Shannon's even talked about being out of town, catching an early flight, landing, going straight to the studio on limited sleep. He's talked about this. I come to find out recently that his Club Shay Shay studio is right down his own Fox Sports lot. So it's right down from where he shoots with Skip all the time, which is intelligent because we're talking about logistics. You can't be moving around
and be efficient. No,
and be efficient. You can't do it. And I think a lot of people probably hate to say this, but after Kobe Bryant, probably a lot of people re-evaluated their travel schedule and how they get around and what are they doing when it comes to being somewhere at a certain time and how do they get there. Probably a lot of people looked at that. So, no, I'm serious. I mean, Kobe was living in Orange County and taking a helicopter almost by where I live to go to his camp.
Yeah, I believe it.
And Kobe, when he was playing, was because he said he wanted to maximize the time with his children. When he got through playing the game, he called a helicopter on the roof of the Staples Center and was out. He wasn't in LA traffic messing around. He was gone.
No.
You
don't have time for that.
Yeah, you don't have time for it. So that's what led to the Kobe Bryant situation. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people have looked at that kind of stuff. And I think Shannon has a lot of potential to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, if he's already got some side gigs already happening, I mean, the Undisputed is not his only thing, obviously. And I don't think he's going to miss it at all. I think he was just kind of just going through the routines after they got into that spat, and he kind of had to play nice and just keep the image there. But once he saw a way out, he took it and ran.
Yeah, and we're talking about he has a podcast that's doing very well, and we can see on all of our sports talk that podcasts are the future.
Oh yeah,
this is why ESPN just paid Pat McAfee a crazy amount of money. To bring his podcast format to their network. And then you see people from the network. Stephen A. Smith also has a podcast that he has just recently renamed to the Stephen A. Smith Show because that's what people want to watch. People are tired of I get in the green room with Alex and we talk about I'm gonna make these points and oh yeah, okay, FD, now you make these points and then we come out in air. If you look at Undisputed, every series, Skipper's on one side, Shannon's on the other. And you don't think that's predestined? You don't think anybody's coming up with that as a group? Yeah, why don't you take Denver and why don't you take Miami? Oh, okay. Yeah, I roll with it. That's how it is. So we come over here and we speak candidly about what you're having a conversation with us. There's no green room here. So if people and if you think your audience is not intelligent enough to know that, yes, they are. So then they look at something and they say, I'd rather watch a podcast, talk to some real folks, than sit here and talk to so-and-so, and this stuff is just made up. These arguments are made up.
Yeah. A lot of them are. I mean, podcasts are the future. I mean, we're talking about sports podcasts here, but major news networks have podcasts going on. When you're not watching their live TV or whatever, they're doing podcasts on the side and all that stuff. So it's the future.
Hey, I'm watching a Food Network, and they're shooting part of the episode like it's a YouTube episode.
Mm-hmm.
They got an iPhone out there. They're the angle they're at, and you may see somebody's thumb come in. I mean, that's what people want to see. Want to see the real. It's like I'm standing in the kitchen looking over into the pot.
They don't want the scripted.
It's played, man. We have just kind of dumbed down stuff for people where, and now I'm also noticing that a lot of ex-athletes or current athletes have their own podcasts. They're taking you behind under the helmet in the locker room, taking you all kind of places.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's what my perspective on cards may be a little bit different because I kind of come at it like an athlete. I think I come at it like I'm a fan of the Joker. No, I see him do some stuff, or I see Butler do some stuff. I can see why everybody that plays with Butler believes in him. I can see that. I mean, look at his story.
But Butler's cards never been that big of a hype.
Yeah, that's that bridge I'm talking about between
There's a huge bridge
and the hobby. People are in the hobby are not moved by Jimmy Butler.
And it's crazy to me because the guy is amazing at what he does. I mean, I know he's going to have some off nights, but he just smoked all the talent on the East Side this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the number 8 seed is in the finals. Yeah, they're getting blown out. They're probably going to get blown out in the finals, but they made it there and they weren't even expected to get there. And Butler was a big reason why. Now, why are his cards not like, the other players out there right now? It's mind-boggling to me.
And then people are still hyped on Trae Young.
Yeah.
Which I do not understand. I just will never understand. I've talked to some people who love Trae Young. I just
garbage. He'll never win a finals.
And I always say small guards catch hell. How many small guards in NBA history have made it through?
Not many.
I can really only name Allen Iverson. I'm talking about Hall of Fame.
Stockton.
Took their team somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Got to the Western Conference Finals, got to the finals, maybe even won the finals. Injury-free for the most part, not just always.
Yeah, no, I mean, Stockton to me, he was the guy. He was the point guard when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Animal.
Autographs are rare. It's still kind of affordable.
Which, again, is mind-boggling. You can still get Hakeem autos cheap.
Yeah, Hakeem rookie cards.
Mm-hmm.
Been going down since about 3 years now.
Now, I did start, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. I did start looking back into vintage baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The 54 tops, Hank Aaron.
Oh yeah.
Even as the 55 Hank Aaron, the 55 Sandy Koufax. All these vintage baseball cards, that's what's going to never, in my opinion, it's a sure bet. Yeah, they're going to go up and down dollars, but we're not talking hundreds or thousands of dollars, and it's a gradual increase over time. Mm-hmm. Vintage baseball has beaten the down markets year after year. There's always a increase year over year with vintage. So.
Well, what your population kind of is. It's not going to be like a crazy amount of cars that just come into the market. You know what your grades are. You know who the players are. Their resumes are stacked and written in stone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can still pick up Mano cards.
Yeah,
for a decent price.
Yeah,
which is nuts too. I mean. I don't know, man. The markets are crazy. I think it's people getting bored.
That's what I think it is. Yeah, we can only talk about Hank Aaron so long. Let me talk about Julio Rodriguez.
Oh, man.
Let me talk about Bobby Witt Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's batting .216, it's just a sophomore curse. He'll be out of it. Don't worry about it.
Julio's amazing. I've seen him play. I got the MLB package. I watch those guys every day.
Oh, he is.
Julio is special.
You just gotta I think any sport, once people watch film on you, you gotta adjust. So we gotta see him adjust. But as an athlete,
everybody was freaking out about Jason Dominguez. Where he at?
That's what I'm saying. People were paying big money for Dominguez.
Big money. Big money.
Next coming.
We'll see.
It's funny how it works. So, what's your prediction for this series? Who's going to win what? How many games?
Denver's going to take the series in 5 games.
I was thinking Denver in 6, but what I'm seeing tonight, unless Miami makes, as we would say back in the day,
somebody would have to get hurt.
Something has to happen because this is like a slow winding machine of blowout this is about to come.
Yeah. I mean, I think after tonight, Spoelstra is an amazing coach. I've said it all along. Pat Riley is a genius, but it's only going to get you so far. You don't have the players. Denver's got a few more stars on their team than you do, and that goes a long ways. So I think Denver in 5. I think Miami will pull out at least 1 win, hopefully. And here I am, a Miami Heat fanatic.
Man, you want to hit some crazy stats? Let me hit you with 4 percentages right quick.
Okay.
Miami is shooting 35% from the field and 25% from the 3-point line right now.
Yeah.
While Denver is shooting 56% from the field and 42% from the 3-point line. Denver has 5 people in double digits. Miami has 3. Jimmy Butler only has 11 points, shooting 5 of 13 from the field. And 31 minutes of play. Very inefficient here.
Not going to happen. That's what I said. I said to you, Butler has completely fell off these last 3 games.
Yes.
These last 3 games, he's been non-existent. And I don't know. Maybe he's gassed. They just had a long series with Boston. Maybe he's hurt. He was, I think, on the sidelines for one of the series for a game or 2, I think.
Against the Knicks, he twisted an ankle. Then he twisted an ankle versus Boston.
So I think he's had some long series. Denver has had a long wait period for this series. They when did they get done? Week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
A week ago, I think. But off a week.
Yeah, they've been off for a while, and then Miami only had 1 day of rest.
Let's get into LeBron James right quick. You really can't talk sports without talking King James.
Okay.
So, he came out and subliminally said, I got a lot to think about. I don't know. I might. Never said what he might do, but I might.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
So, do you think he's going to retire?
No. His head is too big.
Yeah, he's not retiring.
He ain't retiring. He's already said it himself. He's going to wait for his son to come in because he'd love to play with his son one day. And then when that happens, he's done.
You know what I love about LeBron, though? There's a few things that I love that I think are comical. It's like how he does his thing. But one thing is like, I want to play with my son. And then you ask him about it again. Well, that's my wish. He may not want that. So I might be gone before then. Then I love when he says, my body and my mind, you got to get my body right. And then if my mind is right, then my body will follow. But if my mind is not right, then, I don't know.
Well, he was using, he was trying to be like read between the lines type of words, saying that either the GM of the Lakers does something quick and gets me with better guys, or I won't be here next year to play with the Lakers.
Then he says, well, but that's Rob Pelinka and them. I don't really have I don't have anything to do with that. That's Rob and them. They got to get upstairs. I don't ever go upstairs. I don't even use the elevator in the building, so I really don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, LeBron needs to hurry up and open up an NBA team here in Vegas.
He does. It's coming. The Oakland A's are coming.
There's Hollywood studios that are in the talks of being in Vegas, so he could just do movies here and do some more NBA jams and all that stuff. He'd be in the house.
What you think about what do you think about the Oakland A's coming? They're talking about tearing down Tropicana. Right into the strip, bro. Baseball field.
I think it's a bad idea to bring Oakland A's. I think they should have just, I don't know, brought somebody else. I get it. You got the Oakland Raiders here, obviously now Las Vegas Raiders, but unless they get Billy Beans back, or I think that's his name, right?
Yes.
The guy that was the GM before that exploded them back in the day and took them almost all the way.
Yes.
I don't know, man. They're talking about having a retractable roof, but it's only a half of a retractable roof. How's that going to work in the summer when you're playing?
I don't know, bro. When it's hot,
when it's 110 degrees outside, 115 degrees outside, and you're playing with half a roof on there, and the guy in the outfield is just dying of heat because that sun's just blasting him. I mean, I live here, so I mean, you can't play in the summer here.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know how that's going to work. They need to have it either a full dome, which is going to be too much money. That's probably why they can't get the deal done because they can't. They're having a tough time right now getting the deal done with a half a roof. So a full dome will increase the price on that, and they'll require the city to come up with the more money because I think the Oakland A's are only giving out $1 billion, and we have to come up with $500 million. So you add a full dome to it, it'll probably be that Vegas is responsible or the state's responsible for another million or another billion, and I don't foresee that happening. So they're approaching the deadline. They said this morning on the news that Vegas has until I think Tuesday to make a decision on how they're going to get the rest of that money.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the owners for Oakland,
they want to see football, baseball, basketball in Vegas.
Of course, they already got hockey and football.
Mm-hmm.
They have soccer. They have a professional women's basketball team.
Mm-hmm. Aces.
The Aces, who won the title last year.
Mm-hmm. Probably gonna win it again this year.
Well, shoot, there's only 6 teams, right?
6 teams. You got 4 ballers, something.
Yeah, there's not enough competition yet in the women's. They gotta get some more teams, but they already got those, and of course they're going to want baseball here to have sports all year round.
Well, so we haven't talked about Fanatics. You got any thoughts on Fanatics? So Fanatics recently purchased PWCC.
Yep.
And then we might as well dotted line, maybe. PSA just laid off 3 or 4 of their people in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that when a company is laying off marketing people, probably about to be acquired.
Yeah.
None of their card graders. Everybody's still doing their thing. Nobody's moved.
Well, no, yeah, they'll just like the PWCC employees. Employees are still there. They're happy. They got acquired.
Mm-hmm.
If PSA follows suit and Fanatics picks them up, I think Fanatics is about to just dominate. If they acquire Panini, or if they acquire the licenses for football and basketball, like I'm thinking that they will, it's game over. It's just gonna be under one umbrella. Much better for the collector side, I believe. You're able to control product and quality control a little bit better when it comes to how much you print, how good a product is when it comes out the gate. I think it's better, man.
Well, Michael Rubin talked about, I'm going to have a hand in every aspect of the hobby from A to Z. So now you have a marketplace, right? You acquired a vault system.
Mm-hmm.
You on your site, you sold slab cards in a Fanatic slab, but you gotta take that thing to the next level. So, if anybody out there can answer the question, why is PSA laying off their marketing people? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they get the king of slabs, which, let's be honest, I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say, no, it's Beckett, no, it's SGC, no, it's CGS. No, let's be honest, people. PSA is the king of the slab war right now in cards because they hold the highest value.
That's right.
You get them on board. You, like you said, you have the vault, you have a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
You have tops in your pocket. Mm-hmm. You're now going to be trying to get the Panini in your pocket. Basketball, football cards are coming back. It's game over, man.
Then they're going to have a service that allows you to send your cards somewhere to be evaluated, or they come to your local show, and then you can have a chance to submit them through PSA. If I'm sitting here thinking of this, they're thinking of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's already There's already places that do that for you that facilitate it. CGC is doing it with non-sports cards right now, where if you go on CompC and you purchase a card, it will give you the option of sending it directly to CGC to get slapped from CompC.
And you know Fanatics is going to be all over that.
Mm-hmm. They saw that. That's another avenue, another profit margin that they could squeeze.
It's common, folks. Embrace change. I've been saying this for years now.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Put your arms around it. Hug it tight because it's coming. And if you're a person that's saying, seriously, if you're a person that's saying, I'm not digging that, then I respect it, but that doesn't mean it's not coming.
Yeah, it's coming, whether you like it or not. And these people have all the pull and all the money to make these kind of moves. And you know, I'm hoping it doesn't fall short. I mean, when Beckett came out at one of these card shows this year and said that they're going to now incorporate, and correct me if I'm wrong, a 10 system, right? Where,
but they moonwalked. They moonwalked it. They did.
Yeah, they moonwalked it. They moonwalked just to see what kind of a feel that people got for it. And people exploded.
Yeah.
Exploded because now you're taking away what the 9.5s they were taking away and they were just making a 10.
But you had to know that it wouldn't work, even though people said they may have wanted it, because a lot of Jordan slabs. We can just go to one player right quick. Are in the slabs that would not be a gym mint slab all the way around. There's a lot of 9, 9.5, 3 9.5s and a 9. There's a lot of Jordan cards in that.
Yeah.
Because at that time, Beckett had more of a value than PSA, and people were grading with Beckett. And so now you have a Jordan card. You're not moving that card. You're not cracking that slab and moving that card over to PSA. You're not doing that. So they had to know, even though somebody may have said, I want this, what kind of cards you have in your PC, or what are you holding to flip? Because it's probably not Mike Jordan cards that are condition sensitive stuff from the 90s and inserts that are in that slab right now.
Yeah.
But what's funny is to me, and I knew this at the time, have you heard anything from Beckett? Haven't heard a thing. Zero. Even the gentleman who came out and recorded the first video, you haven't seen anything else from him.
No.
And we didn't know who he was before he made that video.
Yeah.
It's not like Pat Turner commented and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking. We've seen him. He's done interviews. He's produced his own creative. He's done stuff with Jeff. You know this guy, but you just got a guy that comes out and be like, hey, we're going to change some grades on y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting. Made an announcement at the National, took that back. Made an announcement at the Mint, took that back.
He's probably not there no more.
Man, you might be right.
Yeah.
That may be why we have not seen him. Alex, it's always good to have you on here, man.
It's always my pleasure, FD. You know who I'm rolling with.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. You snuck up on me with that one. Alex, we got to get you in that intro, man.
Oh, that's all good.
Sin City Comix in the house.
It was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. I love being here. Love talking shop with you and the fam and the chat.
At some point I got to get to Vegas, check you out. I don't think there's any hobby stuff coming up, but
no. In the summertime, I mean, there might be another con coming. I'll let you know. We'll stay in contact.
Brenda says no need for assimilation. It's forced induction.
Oh, with Fanatics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ruben is the capo. Be sure to pay your tribute.
Brendan comes with it, man. I'm thinking he has 9 lives. LeBron is a producer now. Hollywood's calling. Well, you got to start producing better than what he's been making. You can't remake House Party like that and just whatever. That thing was. And we all know, you may have a studio or be a producer. You may see a movie already made ready to go to theaters. You like, you know what? I'm gonna put my name on that and see where it goes as a small investment. Maybe that's what he did, but
Yeah.
I believe though that LeBron is probably going. Some people may not even think this. He might do greater things off the court than he did on the court. I mean, Magic Johnson.
I can see that. Listen, yeah, LeBron is a very smart guy. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too big-headed sometimes.
What I love about LeBron, he's a very intelligent young man. You don't hear anything about him. He's about his business. He's the first successful basketball player or any athlete who brought his friend network into business with him and has done a lot of great things. All those guys carry themselves well. They work with a lot of other people. I appreciate that everything about him. There's also a comedy side of LeBron who does this thing in this particular way, which I find funny sometimes. But do I respect him? Yes. What's that not to respect about LeBron?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We got a few more here. Feed the guys. Good evening, everyone. Good to have you here. LeBron produced movies are centered around him. They are. I mean, he's going to tell a story about him and his friends, at least 5 more. LeBron and his friends, part 8.
That's right.
He's got somebody else playing his friends. Then he's got a documentary on him and his friends. And next, he's going to produce a cartoon version of him.
Oh, for sure. Animated series.
Animated LeBron. Love listening to the Sports Talk. Zerny, thank you very much. Hey, I appreciate all of you all being here. I always say this, and it's the truth. You could be anywhere right now. The finals is going on. There's a blowout. But, we still here chopping. When I first started the podcast, I used to say, I'm going to try to avoid these events. Maybe we get more people watching, but sometimes I think you just got to go.
People are going to watch it. People are going to watch it, and then they'll catch the replay.
Yeah, they catch the replay, see what's going down. But Alex, I appreciate you all the time. Please go check out Sin City Comics on Instagram and other social media that Alex has, and jump into it. He sells quality comics. You won't be turning the page for and be like, why is this page not here? He's selling quality stuff. He gets into what he's doing. If he gives you a grade on the comic, he's done his research. One thing I tell you all, and I don't think I've never told Alex this. We meet at the Mint in 2022, right? Yeah. In 2022, and we're talking. And probably in about 15 minutes, I knew Alex doesn't talk about stuff that he does not know. And he puts research into what he's talking about. And he has a passion for what he's doing. It could be his job. It could be his family. We talked about this stuff real early. He talked about his family history. He talked about players that he's adamant about because of how they feel about their family and what they're doing. I pick up things on people real quick. And I appreciate you really being the kind of person that will quickly tell someone. To me, there's only a few people I've met like this. I don't know that. Let me look that up. Let me check that out. And then I'll get back to you and say something about it. And the way he handles his business is that same level of tenacity and thoroughness, because he's not just talking to be talking. So that's Alex. That's Sin City Comics, people.
Kind words, my friend. I appreciate you as always, man. The love's right back to you, baby.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll stay in contact on what's going on out here, what we see, and also getting together. I got some family business in Chicago around the National where we're trying to sell the house I grew up in. My father passed away in December 2020. So we're trying to sell the house that I grew up in. That's going to be an interesting trip. And what's cool about it is that Junior, all my kids are going.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be the cool part, showing them different things. Where I went to high school, where I did this, where I did that.
Well, make sure you take them to Portillo's.
Yeah. We'll hit that.
Do it right. Take them to Wrigley. Take them all those places.
Yeah. I want to do all that. I want to go to a Cubs game. I want to do all that. Got to try to make time for all of it.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Well, thank you, bro, for being here. Sin City Comics, people, on What's to Play. June 1st, 2023. All right, my man.
All right, man. Catch you on the next one, brother.
Yes, sir. Talk to you.